Hello and welcome to another Solana tutorial. Today we're gonna talk about alignment. And I'm not talking about the alignment that you might know from Dungeons and Dragons, where I'm definitely chaotic good. But I am talking about the alignment of bytes. Because in the previous video we talked about Quasar and that it uses zero copy, but we just did a small little program. We didn't really dive deep into the zero copy part of it, which is what I want to do today. And to really understand how zero copy works, we need to have a look at alignment. So yeah, this is gonna be a pretty technical video. It's not essential that you understand this in order to work with Quasar, but it gives you the background of what's happening behind the scenes. And that's just the things I'm most interested in. How does it actually work? What's happening here? And understanding that might make it easier for you to write programs, but ideally the framework would just abstract that away from you and you don't even need to know what's happening here. But I want to know. So let's talk about alignment. Yesterday, all my troubles seemed so far away. We wrote our first little Quasar program that created this mood account. If you want to get the full story, watch the previous video. And here we were just working with a U8 and an address. Not particularly difficult data types. But what if we had a big number, a U64? Also doesn't sound like a difficult data type, but let's have a look. And also add a new big number here and also set that big number to the new big number. There we go. Suddenly we cannot do this anymore because we're expecting something different here. And that might be confusing for you if you don't know what's happening here. And that's exactly the reason why we make today's video and want to understand what's happening here. But first, let's talk alignment. Let's see, can I be dumb and let it fix that? There we go. With an into, that should work. But we don't understand what we're doing here. We just intuit into the correct type. Yeah, sure, whatever. Okay, fine. Let's build this. Also here, a new big number. And then new mood, new big number. Also here, new big number. Okay. And then we Quasar deploy this. Cool. And then we had a script that calls both instructions, the init and the set. I'm gonna also log the mood account address. That's the account we're creating. And we will need new data. One, that's the instruction discriminator. That's the new mood. I'm gonna set that to 7. And then I need 8 bytes for my big number. I could just set it to all ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just set the number to the biggest int. I'll just set it to all ones just to see it if we look at it. Or maybe I print that at the end. So we get a signature and we get the account that we created. Simulation has success. And if we then check the account, here we go. That's what we would expect. 1 byte for the account discriminator, that's the 1. The 7 that we set for this 1 byte of the mood, that's our U8. And here we have 8 bytes of a number. I just set it to all ones such that it's easier to see where it lives. That's a U64, 8 bytes. And that U64 starts at byte 2 of this entire thing. Now that wouldn't be a problem if it would have alignment 1, which means it can basically live anywhere, like those bytes. A U8 has alignment 1, meaning it can be anywhere and it's fine. So here, first byte, it's 1 byte, that's fine. Second byte, also with alignment 1, no problem. However, if we have an 8 byte number, the CPU is not happy if it lives anywhere, because a U64 has alignment 8, which means that it can only live every 8 bytes. So it could live here, for instance, in the first 8 bytes. It could live here, for instance, in the second 8 bytes. It could live here, and it could live here, and it could live here. That would be alignment 8. It's always 8 bytes that basically are together. Think of it, if you have data that is just made up of U64s, then that's a U64, that's a U64, that's a U64, and so on. Why is that helpful? Well, because then you can index it with alignment 8. And basically, this is 0, this would be index 1, this would be index 2, so it accounts for the size of the data type, and in that case it has 8 bytes, and with alignment 8, we can just count it up like this. With alignment 1, we could count it up like this. This is the first one, this is the second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. Which is more flexible, right? Because then we can start here and read 8 bytes from here. However, that's not how the CPUs like to do it. If the CPU works with an 8-byte number, then it expects it to have alignment 8. And casting a pointer to here, to a U64, results in undefined behavior. Either it's reading the right thing, maybe it's reading the wrong thing, or maybe it crashes. You don't know. So that's just not allowed to do that. So why do we have alignment 8 in the first place then? Well, for efficiency. I don't want to go too deep, so I'm going to simplify a lot here. But maybe you remember in our video about assembly basics, I'm going to link it up there, we talked about the CPU loading data into the registers, and the registers has a certain size. For instance, 8 bytes. So every load instruction will load 8 bytes. So when the CPU reads from memory, then it always reads 8 bytes. And it will index the memory with those 8 byte chunks. So it will have alignment 8. That's just a result of how the hardware works. And to be efficient, when we're working with Rust and we're working, with a U64 type, then it expects that to be 8 byte aligned. So the addresses at which this U64 can live is always a multiple of 8. In other words, the pointer modulo 8 must be 0. It's not a problem if we're working with U8s, because a U8 is just that one thing, and there we can point to one exact location somewhere in memory, and it will just get that 1 byte from there. But with U64s, it expects 8 byte alignment. And that's a problem if we have data like this, that is not 8 byte aligned. And that's, by the way, also the reason why sometimes we're adding padding to reach 8 byte alignment again. For instance, even the entry point does that. You know, the data that we're getting from the entry point, which we don't see here, padding to align offsets to 8 bytes. I don't find the proper docs for this anymore. For every account, we're adding padding to reach 8 byte alignment again, in case the data is not a multiple of 8. I talked about that in the entry point video that I made. But obviously, for our accounts, our data, we don't want every U64 to be 8 byte aligned, because then I would need to have 6 bytes of padding here, and then I need to put my U8 here. Then it would work again. So that could be one strategy how we enable zero copy and directly casting those U64s, by requiring our state, so our account data, to be 8 byte aligned. So I could do that here by adding a 6 byte padding. There you go. That's the padding. And if I deploy this and create a new account, then it would look like this. I have the 2 bytes, discriminator, and my 1 data byte, then 6 bytes of padding, and then my U64. That would work. Then all of the things that need to be 8 byte aligned, this one number, is 8 byte aligned. Also, our address is now neatly 8 byte aligned. It's even 16 byte aligned. So those 32 bytes here also start at alignment 8. If they would need to start with alignment 32, which they don't, but if they would, I would just add another 16 zeros until I can add my address. Not gonna do that now, but just conceptually. If it was all 32 byte aligned, then, I could always do address, address, address. Yeah, I think you get the idea. So this stuff is now 8 byte aligned. If it was like that, if all of my data was like that, all of my U64s are 8 byte aligned, then I could just work with that. Then Rust wouldn't complain, the compiler wouldn't have undefined behavior. But since we don't guarantee that our U64s live at 8 byte alignment, we want to be able to have them here to not waste bytes, because we gotta pay for that shit. If we don't want to pay for that padding, we gotta use a different data type. A pod U64, which is plain old data U64, which means it's really just bytes. And you see, that thing really is just 8 bytes. which means it has alignment 1. Because arrays like these, where it's just bytes, because we're talking about bytes, they have alignment 1, which is also, by the way, why the address has alignment 1, because that's also just a bunch of U8s. And a pod U64 is nothing else than a U64, but stored as an array of bytes, which, are the same bytes than if it was an actual U64, but this time with alignment 1. So this way we can guarantee alignment 1 without padding and no alignment trap. And this data type also implements the arithmetic logic, so it behaves as if it is a U64, but internally it's an array of 8 bytes. And this is really the reason why here I need to say into, because I need to get from a U64 to a pod U64. But I can also write U64 here. Quasar will automatically make this to a pod. And there is documentation for this here in the zero copy deep dive section of the Quasar docs. The Solana account data arrives as raw bytes, a slice of bytes, with alignment 1, but a U64 has alignment 8. And casting to a struct with U64 fields is undefined behavior. That's the fundamental problem that every zero copy Solana framework must solve. And Quasar solves it with those pod types. You write normal Rust types in structs, and the account macro swaps them for the pod equivalents at compile time. So to us, we can just write U64 and we will end up with a pod U64. As we have already seen here, this will make it a pod, and then if we set it, then we need to say into, because that thing really is a pod. And that might be a bit confusing. Why is that a pod 64? What is that even? Plain old data. Meaning this is really just the bytes that live there. That's nothing on the heap. That's nothing where we need to delete something. We can literally take those bytes and copy them. We don't have any alignment issues. And yeah, it does that with all types that have alignment greater than 1. U16s, which have 2 bytes, U32s with 4 bytes, which would also have 4 byte alignment, and U64s with the 8 bytes, which have 8 byte alignment. They're all automatically converted to the corresponding pod type. Types that are already alignment 1, like U8s or address, as we saw, they're unchanged. And thereby we ensure that we have alignment 1. Arithmetic uses wrapping semantics in release and panics on overflow in debug. When overflow detection matters, use the checked variance. So, like normal integers, you can overflow them, and in debug it will panic, but in production, so in release, it doesn't. So if here I would add 1, then it will overflow to 0. Well, let's add 2, then it will overflow to 1. And if we then create an account and check that account, then we see indeed it overflowed to 1. If I wouldn't want this overflow, then I would need to do a checked add, which would then fail. Access violation in program section at address of size 8. Ooh, interesting. Why do we get an access violation? There it gets me success. But if I expect, okay, let's try it differently. Let's match on some, nothing, and on none. How do I log something? Maybe expect, yeah, expect probably doesn't work with Solana programs. How can I log something? Oh, Solana message is to create. Okay, not log, message. Okay, message. Overflow detected. Uh-oh, could not compile. Found panic implementation. Oh no. Oh, because that has standard. No, I don't want, I want message with non-standard. Because whole Quasar is non-standard. I can't drag standard into this because then I have a panic implementation, which is not what I want. So, cargo, dependencies, Solana message. No features, please. Well, it still panics. But without message, it would compile? Yeah, without message, it would compile. Damn it. Is there a Quasar message? Log? Low-level Solana log data, syscall wrapper. It's for logging data, though. It's very difficult to do message logging. No default features. How about this? There we go. Now we don't have those default features. How does that look in here? Default features false. Maybe that's what I need to do. And then I can message log here. And can I then build? No, still doesn't build. I don't see the issue here. Why is it an unresolved import? Message is included in here. Is it though? Don't think it is. I'm getting stuck with other things that I'm actually not so interested in. But it's weird that I Could not find message in Solana message. Maybe I can just use sollog. Ha! Sollog I can use. Maybe because I don't have the default features, I can't use the formatting and everything, but sollog should work. Okay, with that excursion, there we go. Now we have overflow detected. And more importantly, we know how we can do some logging with Quasar. Can't use the message, but can use the sollog. Okay, anyway, that's just for how we work with these. We can work with this as if it is a U64, almost. So we can, for instance, divide it by 2, and that should just work. Pod 64 we can divide by a U64 that builds and runs. And we see that we have divided it by 2 because we have the 7F now instead of the FF here. So the most significant byte has a 7, so we lost the 1. And yeah, like this we can operate on U64s that are not 8-byte aligned, but it's still working in place. So we're not copying any number somewhere to do the arithmetic and then copying back. No, this really works on this type, which works in place. No serialization, deserialization, no copying. This is a zero copy type. Yeah, what else is interesting? The other way around, if we want to get the big number, the number is this, and we want to get a U64 though, then this doesn't work, because here we once again have a pod U64, but we need a U64. So we once again need to say into, and then we can work with a number. Let's see what this log data does. Base 64 encoded field. I can log the number, then my log will come back with this. A lot of ones, nice. So if you would decode that, that would be the same as the number we saw in the account. I could also say get, which does the same thing, converting from little endian bytes. And the difference is that here we read without consuming, which is relevant for the borrow checker, I guess. Let's say if we made this a new number, a new pod, for instance, pod number is this, just divided by 2, it's a pod U64. And then we would say this number into, then we can't use the pod number anymore. Again, oh, it is. What's the difference then? I don't get it. Hold on. Okay, the compiler may not actually enforce the move, but semantically we're consuming. It seems to be the same, but you shouldn't do into twice, because into is supposed to consume this and put it here. But because it's just a U64, maybe the compiler doesn't actually do that and we can still use it. But if you just want to read it, use get. Yeah, whatever. Doesn't really seem to make a difference in my tests. And that's okay. We did talk about alignment and we understand those pod types, which is good enough for today. Should we still have a look at dynamic fields? That's also interesting, but that's a whole different topic. I would say that's good for today. That was actually a very interesting one for me. Because even though super simple, but understanding alignment and what those pod types are will really help me in the future read other code. Because I've seen that in the past, those pod thingies. And I was like, what is that? But now I know. It's plain old data. And we do that for alignment reasons. That's very cool. And we saw how Quasar uses those types to allow U64s and U32s at random alignment. So at alignment 1. Yeah, I'm super happy that we learned this today. I like deep diving into those things and really having a look into one specific topic, because that's what makes us better developers. Really understanding the types and stuff. So yeah, I enjoyed that. If you enjoyed that as well, give me a like. Do subscribe if you have not done that already. And then here I present to you some other videos to watch. And I'll see you again in the next one, where we might again talk about Quasar and some things. We have not looked at everything yet. Maybe we still want to do a deep dive into dynamic fields, like strings and vectors and how to use those, because that could still be complicated. Or if there's another topic that you want me to deep dive into, do let me know in the comments below, or on X, or anywhere you find my contact. But yeah, you will see me again in a future video. Till then, bye bye. And try out Quasar and those types, and feel smart for being smart. And yeah, something, we're all smart.